and getting an upset against the New York Liberty. This was a fun game to watch. This guy showed tons of heart. That defense continued to shine through, didn't execute as well offensively down the stretch, didn't only led briefly in the fourth quarter, but we're going to break it all down, have some fun, talk about it right after this.
Welcome to Chicago Sky Central, and here's your host, Haize.
All right, what's going on, Sky fans, man? It sucks, man. It sucks that the Sky were able to pull that out. It was so close. This was such a good and excellent game. That's it. All I can say. This was a fun game. And while I'll say there are no, I'm not a person who can say you can have good losses. I'm not one of those people who say that. But I think you can have measuring stick losses. And the Chicago Sky, shorthanded, lost only by 1 point to one of the best teams in the WNBA in a season that was supposed to be a rebuilding season for us. The Sky showed a lot of heart. The Kalia Copper executed well coming back from that injury. You have Marina Mabry scoring 14 points. Elena Smith going 7 of 7 from the field, 4 for 4 from three-point range, chipping in 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1 block. Again, just showing that the forward depth is a lot better than what we gave it credit for initially. This Chicago Sky, I'm so proud of how this team competed in this game. I can't say that enough. There were some issues, but when you look at it, 11 of 19 for three-point range, that was one of my keys to the game. Shot 42% overall from the field, 20 assists on 30 made baskets. They won the rebounding battle, which I wanted them to do by 10. The Chicago Sky did almost everything they needed to do to try to win this game. They just did not come up with it, man. And the execution down the stretch of that game, unfortunately, the Sky just gave that game up. This game was really lost in that third quarter as well when you look at being outscored by 5 after you won the prior quarters. But you're not going to win all. But this was such a fun game to watch, and to see Elena Smith and this kind of be her coming out party in a way of just like, hey, no, she is showing why she deserves to be the starter, especially while everyone else is out. And you got to think, we had Rebecca Gardner, we had Morgan Birds. Like, this game may have been different, but we defended Stewie well down the stretch. But hey, that's why Breanna Stewart is the best player in the WNBA. That is why she is who she is. Hitting that shot, hey man, that's a 19 and 11 and 5 from Stewie. It's going to be hard to overcome that. Jonquel Jones continued to just kind of pick her spot. She only played 19 minutes, but scores 10 points in this game. Courtney Vandersloot wins in her first return back to Chicago. Oh man, I would have loved for us to be able to get this game, but overall, the Chicago Sky really came in and performed well in this game. And yeah, I mean, overall, the way that they executed, James Wade coached a pretty solid game on his part as well. Some defensive lapses down the stretch that I would like us to get out of. Again, foul trouble again. We got to get these personal fouls together. Really the only player that was mainly in foul trouble through the stretch was Elena Smith, but she played excellently down the stretch. But 17 personal fouls in this game, allowing the New York Liberty to get to the free throw line 7 times. We also got to the free throw line 7 times, so I guess that balanced out some. But when you look at the stat sheet of this game, if you just look at the raw stats, this was a game that you would have thought that the Chicago Sky won, and we probably should have won this game. Do not get me wrong, but hey, the team with the more talent won this game, right? But it was good to see Kalia Copper and Marina Mabry really getting that scoring rhythm together at some points, even kind of playing the your turn, my turn thing. Courtney Williams with some mistakes down the stretch of this game. Still a cold game from her. She's 3 of 12 from the field. And overall, you still see those growing pains that we're going through offensively, right? We still have a lot of work to do on the offensive side of the ball to become that well-oiled machine. We're really kind of getting by on our raw talent, and we're not at times playing like a team I would like us to see play at down the stretch, where we're not executing team basketball that I would like to see us on the offensive side of the ball. But, you know, those are all kind of nitpicky things. Didn't have a lot of output from the bench today. Only 8 total points from the bench, and 6 of those coming from Dana Evans, 2 coming from Anigwe as she is on her way out on Sunday. I don't know if she'll play. Is the next game Sunday? She probably won't play in the next game. So she's out. Her last game before, she's gone for a little while. Probably won't be back to about mid to late June. But overall, I love the way that this guy competed in this game, and they get a blueprint, right? They get a little notch in their hat. They get some confidence going into the next game, which is also against the Liberty when they go into New York. This guy right now, 3-3 on the season. But with the injuries that we've had, I'll take it. I'll take it. I really enjoy the brand of basketball that the Sky have been playing so far on the season. Let's see how you guys are feeling about it. I think Mark's the only one commenting in the comment section so far. He says, that's tough. Yeah, Mark, bro, it was tough, man. The Liberty are good, but we shorthanded, and look how we played them. I think we have a super team. Listen, I don't know if you call it a super team, but the depth, right? Especially when you look at our pieces coming back. We don't know if we're going to get Rebecca Gardner back this season. Isabel Harrison is up in air for the rest of this season as well. But even just getting Morgan Birch back, getting Ruthie Hebert back at some point in time as well, even though, there's still a lot that we like to see from her. There's enough to say that, our depth is going to be that death by 1,000 cuts type thing. And then, Inigwe's going away once she comes back from being out as well. I'm sure we're going to get that hardship exception as well, where we're going to be able to sign somebody, a couple of players, maybe even. And we'll see when that comes across. But overall, I cannot be mad at how this guy performed in this game. I really can't be mad at how they performed. I just can't. Sika Kone, I like her game overall. I think sometimes like she just gets kind of out of control. She only plays 5 minutes in this game. We really didn't go a lot to our bench overall. Now, when you only dress 9 players, that kind of makes sense. Robin Parks, I'm surprised we didn't see a little bit more, especially with her shooting ability on top of that. But, kind of is what it is. Mark also says, Brianna Stu with the tough bucket. Agreed. Jordan says, hurtful loss. You know what? I'm not really hurt by this loss, right? You have a team that is earmarked to get to the WNBA finals, right? That's a super team. Let's be clear here. This is a super team. And nobody would have put the label of super on the Chicago Sky heading into the season. And we were neck and neck with them primarily the whole game, right? Yeah, we went down by a little bit after the half. We led the whole first half, basically. But overall, I really enjoy the way that we played in this game. I really don't have, to me, it's not hurtful. Like, this is again, I hesitate to ever use a good loss, but this was a loss that you can take some really good things from, right? That's how I feel about this loss. Steve-O says, at least we didn't get killed. Yeah, I mean, listen, and thank God Kalia Copper came back into that game. I texted Steve-O in our group chat. After Ka went down, I was like, watch Ka be gone for about a week. She came back out, played primarily the whole second half, and still gave us 20 points per game. I'm glad Ka is not hurt, man. It's important that we have her, because if she goes down, now that's a player that we can't withstand with our depth. Mark Shannon says, we don't got big names, but we got competitors. We got dogs. We got women that bleed what it's like to play for the city of Chicago. Hard hat and lunch pail. Yeah, listen, I've said it before. This Chicago Sky team is the way that we like our teams in Chicago. Compete. They compete every single play. They fight through screens. They're tough. They punch above their weight. They play solid defense. They do the nitty and gritty. To your point, we got dogs on this team. And that is a positive thing that you can just take away from it and just enjoy the fact that we got dogs, and we competed with one of the best teams in the WNBA, neck and neck the whole game, and we definitely could have won that game. The officiating as well keeps being weird when it comes to the Chicago Sky. In my opinion, like some of the foul calls that we get called are really ticky-tacky, but it kind of is what it is there. Jordan Rodriguez says, glad Copper isn't hurt. I agree with you there. Definitely agree with you. Copper isn't hurt. Steve O Speak says, and that's the Kyle we've been missing the last 2 games is back for show. Yeah, and listen, you cannot take away from how when a competitor faces some adversity, they come back out. Kyle's an animal. She's a beast, right? Are you a different animal but the same beast? Quote Kobe. But anyway, she's a beast, and I really do think stepping up in this type of atmosphere at home against this team, you saw the best out of her. And then when she went down with injury, she came back out just as fierce, right? Didn't show any hesitation. That's the Kyle that we need on this team. That's the leader of this team. That's the team that this core is really built around. And with Herm and Mabry starting to get more in rhythm, I'm telling you guys, it's going to be scary hours around Chicago. And I mean that in the most positive way possible, for sure. I love the way that we're competing. Love the way that we're competing. And I love the way that also you can tell Marina Mabry is getting more comfortable with her teammates and in this offense. 15 points, goes 5 of 14, 3 for 6 from three-point range. She has 7 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 steal, 3 turnovers. We got to get the turnovers down as well, and timely turnovers, right? while we only had 2 more turnovers in the New York Liberty in this game, there were at times when we were building momentum that we turned the ball over that killed us, right? Especially when you're at home, you want to mitigate those momentum turnovers for sure. And so we got to get that in order. Our turnover game's been kind of out of whack here lately anyway, so hopefully we can get that underway as this offense gets going. But I love that Marina Mabry and Kalia Copper are really getting in their rhythm. We still need to see Courtney Williams get in her rhythm, right? And maybe, and this is not at all an indictment or me a negative on James Wade. I know that he came into the season and really told Courtney Williams he wants her to shoot more threes. And I think, in my opinion, in watching Courtney Williams, she's thinking too much out there at times, not all the time, but at times. And I kind of want James Wade to just unlock her, right? Just let her play her game. I understand why you want her to shoot more threes, and I understand why we need that. But when you have Elena Smith shooting threes at the rate she does and Marina Mabry shooting threes, and we know Ka's always a threat to shoot threes as well, let Courtney Williams go to operate in that mid-range. And I tell you what, if we see Courtney Williams go back to being that mid-range assassin, we'll get back to seeing her consistently 12 to 14 points a game. So that's kind of what I'd like to see James Wade do with Courtney Williams to kind of get the best out of her. Like I said, I understand why coming into the season he wanted her to do the things he wanted her to do, but I really do hope that that he notices, like I notice it. She's thinking too much out there. She really is thinking about where she is on the court. You've seen times, she's had times where she could have got off a quick mid-range shot, but she kind of passes it back out, resets, goes out to the perimeter. We don't want that. We want Courtney Williams being Courtney Williams. I think we have enough three-point shooting on this team to where Courtney Williams can be more in their mid-range. That's my opinion. My opinion. Not everyone's going to share that, though. I think it would have a minimum Becca. This would have definitely been a W at minimum Becca. Yeah, I think if we would have had Becca for sure. You look at Rebecca Gardner and how she changes the tone defensively. She completely comes in and sets that defensive tone for the Chicago Sky more times than not. She gets us out in transition, which is when we're most dangerous, and she helps lead off that fast break as well. Rebecca Gardner is such an important piece to what the Chicago Sky are trying to do this season. And the fact that we may not have her back at all this season, honestly, is kind of scary for how this team is going to really adjust to missing her. Mark Shannon as well says, I feel like they are starting to trust one another. Great point. That's really what it comes down to. Not having Marina Mabry as well during the preseason, you got to think about it. She's really getting her preseason reps through the first few games of the season, and she set out a game in the regular season too, I think, right? Or am I missing something? Maybe I'm over. No, she did, because Dana Evans started, I think, the second game of the season. So Marina Mabry is still building, and this team overall is still starting to trust each other. And I think as Marina Mabry starts understanding where these players like the ball a little bit more and understanding her teammates, we're going to see elite passing from Marina Mabry, and that three-point shot, that step back that she has in both the mid-range and three-point is deadly. And I want to see that become more of a weapon for her over time as well, for Marina Mabry. But like I said, as we start figuring things out a little bit more, Elizabeth Williams as well, she's just a monster. She's going to probably lead this team in box plus minus for the whole season, because when she's on the court, it's noticeable. The defense, and that's why I really would love to see, and I hope we get to see it at some point this season, Isabel Harrison and Elizabeth Williams starting in the front court together. You're talking about rim protection. You're talking about rebounding. You're talking about defensive switchability. You're talking about the ability to stretch the floor from Isabel Harrison. And the fact that that was the vision for this front court, and we're not going to probably get to see it maybe at all this season, knock on wood. But I can't wait to see that and hope that we do, because I think that's going to help settle a lot of things with this team as well when we start getting into things. Mark Shannon says, I know most of Chicago was sad that Sloot moved on, but I think the way Marina shoots the ball and how physical she is more than a good replacement for Sloot. Oh, I agree. Very different type of player, right? Let's be clear. They're a very different type of player. But Marina Mabry is just, the way that she can get off scoring anywhere is dangerous. Her switchability on the defensive side, because she is a big guard on top of that, right? She can switch and guard some fours in this league. And because of that, and her reach, the fact she's only 26 years old, like, we have barely begun to scratch the surface of what Marina Mabrey is going to be as a member of the Chicago Sky. And I, for one, am excited to see the potential that she can go to, because I think it's going to be amazing. I think when we look back at it, yeah, we're going to miss Sloot, right? I would never say we're not going to miss Sloot. Let Sloot go. Like, Sloot, to me, is a Chicago legend when it comes to sports. But we did pretty damn good replacing her on the fly with Marina Mabrey, in my opinion. All right, let's see what else we got. We got Thom in the building, says, if Chicago was healthy, we would have gotten the W. Great game, though. I agree with you. Great game to watch. I know that, I try to be realistic, but this did feel like a game that if we were fully healthy, hey, listen, I don't know if I'm surprised to say this, I don't know if the New York Liberty would be prepared for the depth that we have, especially at that forward position. You're talking about the way that Elena Smith played. Of course, she's not going to play and get that many shots if we're fully healthy, but if you're talking about Morgan Birch and what she showed in both sides of the ball, Elena Smith, what she showed, Rebecca Gardner and what we already know that she brings, and Isabel Harrison, listen, those are 4 players that add so much to this team and the way that we want to play basketball that I don't know, man. I think we would have got that. I think we would have got that dub. I think if we was healthy, I believe we would be 5-1. Atlanta just kicked our ass that one game, but the way that this team competes on both ends, she's completely agree with you. Completely agree with you. Listen, I tell you what, I don't know if it's going to happen because I don't know how healthy we're realistically going to be the rest of the season. Rebecca Gardner could be gone the rest of the season. Isabel Harrison, while they're not saying it, could miss the rest of the season. I don't know if we're going to see it, but I tell you what, I believe now in this roster. I had my doubts. I had my doubts about what James Wade rebuilt on the fly and what he gave up from Marina Mabrey. But kind of how all those pieces are starting to look like they're going to fit together. Scary hours in Chicago. Sonia says, does WNBA League Pass still air the post-game press conferences? No. So I watch on League Pass. They don't air the post-game press conferences. Once the game is over with, that's it. Now, I don't know if they maybe post it later. I haven't went back and looked. I'm pretty sure they probably do, but at least it's not up right after the game. I need Wade to go ahead and get some bodies in here. Cod needs a reliable backup. That fall scared the crap out of me. Well, I mean, Rebecca Gardner is the person who's supposed to play forward and guard, right? And she would have came in for some. But yeah, I mean, when you look at it, we have a lot of forward depth, and the guard depth is really just Dana Evans and Rebecca Gardner. That's our guard depth, right? And I understand it because when you look at it, Courtney Williams, Kalia Copper, Marina Mabrey can all play basically both guard positions. So you have 2 versatile guards coming off the bench theoretically, but now that Rebecca Gardner's down, I really wonder if they're going to consider bringing back Kiana Traylor with one of those hardship contracts. I would love for, like, you got to think about it. She went through training camp with this team. She went through preseason with this team. I know she's a rookie, and rookies don't typically play a lot, but if you look for somebody who can come in and fit in that system, Traylor probably offers one of the better options there. So maybe we see Traylor come back eventually. Maybe. Mark says, man, WNBA League Passes is still honestly. Oh, for sure. I've said this before. WNBA League Pass to me is probably the best value in all the sports subscriptions because it's $25 for the whole year, right? And if you're a WNBA fan and one who can watch any WNBA game, and the fact that they don't have some of the same limitations that like NBA League Pass has with streaming, listen, WNBA League Pass is an amazing steal in value, and especially when you look at like NFL Sunday Ticket being $300 now with the move to YouTube. NBA League Pass is either $150, $200 for the year, or you can pay $9.99 a month, something like that. Like, it's ridiculous. And WNBA League Pass offers a great value, especially if you're a fan of the league overall. Inigwe leaving on Sunday for international duty. Our numbers keep dwindling. Yeah, but I think that's probably why we're going to get one of those hardship exceptions. I don't know who's all out there, right? I don't have it off the top of my head who James Wade could potentially get. But when you look at European basketball ending, he can search that. He got Elena Smith from there. So James Wade, I'm sure, is surveying everything right now. I'm sure he's surveying everything right now and who's out there, who's available. And we'll see who he goes out there and get. I think that I think he's going to add some talent. There may be some names that we don't necessarily expect. Like I said, I would really enjoy seeing Kiana Traylor come back and get an opportunity. I really did. I hate that they cut her. I understand why, right? But I really hope that they look at bringing her back, especially since we need some guard depth overall. If we don't finish the season healthy with the way the roster competes, with running back with continuity, oh, for sure. I know continuity is a bad buzzword in Chicago right now, but to me, yeah, I mean, how injured we've been, I want to see this roster get a chance fully healthy. So I would not be mad at all if James Wade doesn't make a single change. If we really just re-up and keep everyone, I would not be mad at that at all. Not be mad at it at all. So we'll see, man. I think like I said, we're going to add some talent in here for sure. I don't know who, like I said, I don't off the top of my head know who James Wade's going to go out and get, but there are absolutely players out there that James Wade can get to add to this team. So we'll see. There are some players that were cut, some former first round picks, right, that were cut, that you can bring in that have talent. So we'll see. We'll see. Mark also says, please bring back Trailer. I really do hope that Trailer comes back, man. She has such a good two-way potential, right? Solid defender. And again, in the way that this team plays defense, I think she can be even better, right? Not the greatest one-on-one defender. And that three-point shot, she can be a 3D player here. And considering that how many ball-dominant players that we have and her ability to play off ball, I really would not mind Trailer coming back. If we get announced that Keanu Trailer's coming back, I'm not going to hate it one bit. Not going to hate it one bit. But again, guys, overall, solid game from the Chicago Sky. Like I said, I hesitate to call it a good loss because I don't like calling losses good, but solid play from our team. They competed. We play again on Sunday against this same team. So we'll be live post-game for that again. And yeah, make sure you guys stay tuned, man. I really do love what we're building here at Chicago Sky Central. I know that there's not a lot of quality WNBA podcasts out there, and hopefully you guys view me that way. And like I said, we go around the WNBA on the pre-recorded episode. Post-game shows are just to focus on the Sky, but I really love the community that we're building. We're short, we're small, but we're mighty, and I would much rather have people engaged that actually love this team and love the WNBA than I would to have 2,000 subscribers and half of those people don't really care about the WNBA. So as we continue to grow, if you have WNBA fans, Chicago Sky fans in your life, make sure you tell them about the show. We're also available on the podcast version. You can get that. A link in the description. I'll usually get the audio from post games up about an hour after we finish streaming, so that'll be available there. But otherwise, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you guys hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. You can follow the show on social media at Chicago Sky Pod on every social media platform we're on, mainly Twitter at this point. You can also send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, ChicagoSkyCentral@gmail.com. And then lastly, if you want to leave a text message and our voicemail, the number to do so, 773-270-2799. We're the number one spot for everything Chicago Sky related. And we out, y'all. I'll see you guys again Saturday with the pre-recorded episode and Sunday with the post game.